Have you noticed that your days have started to feel heavier than they used to? Not just in your body, but in your mind too. You wake up in the morning and it's as if there's a cloud you can't quite shake. The things you used to look forward to seem like chores now. And even when you try to push through, the drive just isn't there. Maybe you tell yourself it's just part of getting older. Maybe you've heard it from friends, family, even from other doctors. But what if I told you that this low mood, this loss of drive, isn't an inevitable side effect of age at all? What if it's your body's way of asking for very specific changes? Changes that don't involve medication, expensive supplements, or complicated routines? And what if you could start turning it around in just a matter of days? I'm Dr. David Langford from Health 360 Pro, and I've spent over 3 decades helping men and women over 60 reclaim energy, vitality, and joy in ways that are simple, natural, and backed by solid science. I've worked with thousands of seniors who felt like they were on a slow, steady slide toward less energy, less strength, and less happiness. And I've watched those same people light back up, not because of a prescription, but because they finally gave their bodies and minds what they were quietly missing. In this video, I'm going to share with you a 3-step plan that has helped countless patients lift their mood, restore their drive, and start living again, instead of just getting through the day. These steps are practical, safe for most people, and easy to weave into your daily routine. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll explain how these steps work together like gears in a clock, each one amplifying the effect of the others so you can see results faster. Let's start with the first gear, because it's the one that sets everything else in motion. Movement that wakes up both your muscles and your brain first thing in the morning. Now, when I say movement, I don't mean you have to start running marathons or join a high-intensity boot camp. I'm talking about gentle but intentional activity in the first hour after you wake up. Movements that increase blood flow, release feel-good brain chemicals, and tell your nervous system it's time to engage. Science shows that even 5 to 10 minutes of light exercise can trigger the release of endorphins and dopamine, 2 of the brain's natural mood lifters. It also stimulates the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which helps keep your neurons healthy and your thinking sharp. I'll never forget Maria, a 72-year-old retired teacher who came to see me feeling flat and disconnected from her life. Her blood work was fine, her sleep was adequate, but she described her days as grey. I asked her what her mornings looked like, and she told me she'd get up, make tea, and sit in her chair scrolling on her tablet for an hour before moving much at all. We decided to try something simple. Before the tea, she would do 5 minutes of slow marching in place, 5 sit-to-stands from her chair, and 2 minutes of gentle arm circles. That's it. Within a week, she called me laughing. "Doc," she said, "I feel like someone plugged me in." Her energy came on earlier in the day, her mood was lighter, and she even started walking to the park in the afternoons because she wanted to, not because she felt she should. If you want to try this, here's how. Tomorrow morning, before breakfast, stand up and move your largest muscle groups, legs, back, arms, for at least 10 minutes. March in place, do a few squats holding onto a counter, roll your shoulders, and take some deep breaths while you move. Think of it as flipping the on switch for your brain and body. Once that first gear is turning, the second gear is about fueling your brain chemistry so it can sustain that spark throughout the day. Low mood and low drive often come from imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and your body needs certain raw materials to make them. Those raw materials come from food, specifically from nutrient-dense foods that are high in certain amino acids, healthy fats, and vitamins. Unfortunately, many older adults start the day with quick, carb-heavy breakfasts or skip breakfast entirely, which can cause blood sugar crashes and a slow, flat feeling. One of the most effective breakfast combinations I've recommended is simple but powerful. A source of protein, a source of healthy fat, and a fruit rich in polyphenols and vitamins. The protein, such as Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or a couple of eggs, provides the amino acids your brain needs to make neurotransmitters. The healthy fat, like half an avocado or a small handful of walnuts, supports hormone balance and slows the release of sugar into your blood, preventing the mid-morning slump. And the fruit, think blueberries, pomegranate seeds, or an orange, delivers antioxidants that protect your brain cells from inflammation, which research has linked to depression and fatigue. There's a patient I'll call Harold, a 68-year-old former engineer who had lost interest in his hobbies and felt constantly behind. He'd been skipping breakfast, then grabbing toast or a muffin mid-morning. We changed his first meal to a bowl of Greek yogurt with walnuts and blueberries. Within 2 weeks, he was finishing projects he'd been avoiding for months. His words were, "It's like my engine's finally turning over in the morning." It wasn't magic, it was biology. By giving his brain steady fuel and the building blocks it needed for neurotransmitters, we removed one of the biggest hidden barriers to motivation. If you want to implement this, tomorrow morning prepare something with at least 20 grams of protein, a healthy fat source, and a colorful fruit. Eat it within an hour of waking and notice how your mental energy feels by midday. The third gear in this plan is about connecting with something that pulls you forward emotionally. Low mood and low drive aren't just chemical. They're also about how much meaning and stimulation you have in your day. Many of my patients find that after retirement, the natural sources of structure and purpose they once had, work, raising a family, fade away. Without something to look forward to, the days can blend together. And even with good sleep and nutrition, the spark starts to dim. Here's where the science of behavioral activation comes in. This is a well-studied approach in mental health that shows how scheduling specific, rewarding activities can lift mood, even if you don't feel like doing them at first. The key is that the activity must be either pleasurable or meaningful, and ideally both. It doesn't have to be big. For one patient, Alan, it was teaching his granddaughter how to play the guitar once a week. For another, it was joining a local walking group. I worked with a woman named Linda, 70, who was feeling lonely and unmotivated after moving to a new city. We set a goal for her to volunteer at the community library twice a week. She admitted she almost backed out the first day, but by the third week, she told me, "I can't believe how much I look forward to those mornings now. I feel like I matter again." If you're wondering how to do this yourself, start by writing down one small activity you can commit to in the next week that either brings you joy or connects you with others. Put it on your calendar as you would a doctor's appointment. The action often comes before the motivation. Once you start showing up for that activity, your brain begins to anticipate it, releasing dopamine in advance and lifting your overall mood. Now, you might be wondering, will this work if I have arthritis, diabetes, or another chronic condition? In my experience, these steps can be adapted for almost anyone. The morning movement can be done sitting or in the water if standing is painful. The breakfast can be tailored for blood sugar control by choosing low glycemic fruits and healthy fats. The meaningful activity can be as simple as calling a friend or tending to a plant. That said, it's always best to speak with your doctor before making changes to your diet or exercise routine, especially if you're on medication or have specific health concerns. Another concern people raise is cost. None of what I've described requires expensive memberships, exotic supplements, or specialty foods. Most of these changes can be made with what you already have in your kitchen and your neighborhood. The real investment is consistency. Doing these things regularly enough for your body and brain to adjust and start sending you those life is worth living signals again. So let's bring it all together. This 3-step plan works because it addresses the physical, chemical, and emotional roots of low mood and low drive. Morning movement switches on your body and brain. Breakfast fuels your neurotransmitters and stabilizes your energy. And a meaningful activity gives your days a reason to pull you forward. Each one is powerful on its own, but together they create a feedback loop. Movement lifts your mood, so you make better food choices. Good food fuels your energy, so you feel more like engaging in activities. Engaging in activities boosts your sense of purpose, which makes you want to move and eat well again. That's how you create momentum. I've seen this cycle transform lives in people who thought they were too old or too far gone to change. The truth is, your body and brain remain adaptable well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The science is clear. Neurons can still grow new connections, muscles can still gain strength, and mood can still be elevated when you give yourself the right conditions. If you've been feeling like your spark is fading, I want you to know it's not gone. It's just waiting for the right signals to reignite. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone or settle into your chair, stand up and move for 10 minutes. Then give yourself a breakfast that feeds your brain and stabilizes your energy. And at some point in the day, do one thing, no matter how small, that brings you joy or connects you with someone else. Repeat that for a week and pay attention to the subtle shifts. The way you walk, the way you talk to others, the thoughts you have when you wake up. At Health 360 Pro, our mission is to help you see that vitality has no expiration date. If this message resonates with you, I encourage you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone you care about. You never know whose life you might change by passing along something so simple, yet so powerful. Your story isn't over, and your drive to live fully can return. One morning, one meal, and one meaningful moment at a time.